Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it is time for your Leeds versus Liverpool preview. I'm getting the band back together. You know, I've had Connor on, and now I've got my main man, Oscar, from, of course, All Leeds TV. If you're wondering what's going on with the setting, we're doing the Yorkshire Three Peaks today. You'll be watching this today, Friday. It'll be released. We're doing the Yorkshire Three Peaks for the Leeds United Foundation. Myself, Oscar, Tash, Jack, plenty of the All Leeds TV crew. You're talking Beckford, Dorigo, Victor, Angus. I think there's many people doing it. So I'm going to put the link in the description. It'll be there. If you can donate whilst you're watching this, we'll be doing it. 28 mile, 12 hours. It's crazy. So please do donate. Please smash a like on this video. Comment, hitting the notification bell, and let's get into it. And this is the moment when I take a stand. So, Oscar, we have Leeds versus Liverpool on Sunday. What a mouth-watering tie we've got to look forward to, mate.
Yeah, it's good. It's a real game, isn't it, really? You know, it's the game that we wanted. You know, we said on other videos that we waited 17 years for this kind of game, really. You know, we've had little bits in the cup and that lot, but this is proper, equals kind of thing in the league, and it's going to be a difficult game. I'll be honest, you know, out of all the games I wanted after the international break, after the way we played against Burnley, the way we played at times against Everton, and the way we certainly did against Man United, we're a little bit sloppy to try and play out of the back and just being a little bit not like us. Yeah. You know, you don't. Sometimes under Bielsa, we've not been great at the back. We've made mistakes. We've not maybe missed chances. I just think the last couple of games we've not really created what we normally would.
Do you think the international break came at the perfect time then?
There's that. Yeah, there's definitely that. You know, obviously, it's maybe in terms of obviously getting Dan James into the team, it's not worked out ideally because obviously he's played 3 games for Wales. We've said it before. We probably are going to mention it in this preview. Yeah. It's debatable debatable at best, really, whether Dan James starts or is involved in this game. Really, I think he'd be involved, but is he going to start it? We'll wait and see. But yeah, in some ways you've got to look at the positives and negatives. I think obviously, I don't know what it is about the start of the season. It's not quite.
It's not quite clicked, has it?
I think you've got to go to the start of the pre-season, really. You know, I think in terms of...
It's a bad pre-season. I know we were saying, look, we've always had bad, but it was a bad pre-season.
The only game I can think of was that Villarreal game that we won. It was at York, that game. We played well that game, to be fair. But,
1-1, wasn't it?
No, we win it 3-2.
What am I on about? 1-0? Which game am I on about? Am I on about the...
There was the Blackburn one.
It was the one with...
I think we won the Villarreal.
We got beat there.
That was I
don't know.
Betis, yeah.
I've slept since then.
It's that challenge, wasn't it? It's just ruined us. That challenge.
Yeah. You were talking there obviously about Dan James, and we'll touch on the lineup a little bit later on in the video. But what do you make to this Brazil situation? The fact that it looks like we're going to be without Rafinha.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's mad.
It's crazy. Like, how can we get governed by the Brazilian FA? It's not even their league. This isn't even their league. It's not even in the same country, and they're telling us who can and can't play.
And Rafinha was the one who said he didn't want to go.
That's it.
So, I mean, fine him.
So if you don't go and play for your country, you can't play for your club. That's what we're saying now.
Yeah. And what I think we've mentioned it before, but I think the frustrating thing for me is that they are letting Richarlison play on Monday because he went to the Olympics. So it's like, oh, we're all right with you. It makes a mockery of the ruling, doesn't it?
It's just mad. It makes it even worse.
Do you think? Because I think even though they're out without, say, Alisson and Fabinho, I still think we are hit harder just by Rafinha because he's that important. Do you agree with that? Or?
Yeah, definidally. Yeah. I think obviously Fabinho is missing. Probably Henderson comes in. Maybe Thiago drops in. You know, they've still got enough top midfielders in there. Maybe even Jimmy Milner comes in. Who knows? But they've still got enough top midfielders in there to, even if they had 2 midfielders missing, they can probably still recover. Kelleher, I don't know a lot about him, but certainly from what Grizz and Avi have said, you know, when we were on the day trippers, you know, they seem to like him. He's not as good as Alisson. I don't think Alisson's one of the best keepers in the world for me. I think
there's only him and Ederson, isn't the best two in the
I think they're the best in the league for me. You know, and either of them are missing, and they are going to be this weekend. I think both teams might. Yeah, you might see them.
It's a positive. It's one positive we can take.
Shoot on sight, I think, has got to be the approach. I think obviously the fans will get on Kelleher's back. They know it was a young goalkeeper. We've seen young goalkeepers at Leeds before really get.
Well, notoriously, Liverpool have woeful second choice keepers.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Fingers crossed. Keller's the same, eh?
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
That's it. You just got to shoot on sight, get some balls into the box. Maybe get on set pieces and that. Like get Llorente maybe sitting on him or Bamford sitting on him, and just make it a little bit difficult and awkward. I think obviously the fact they got Van Dijk, Matip in front of him is probably it's going to help him quite a bit.
Just on their the strength of their team, like you say, Van Dijk, Matip, Alexander-Arnold. I think Tsimikas is probably going to play left back because Andy Robertson has played twice for Scotland during the international break. You've mentioned Henderson, that front three, which is probably going to be Jota, Mane, and Salah. When you say them names, where can we get at them, mate?
That's it, isn't it? I think going forward, just to start off with, it's probably Alexander-Arnold. Not that I don't think Alexander.
You're not saying he's a poor player.
Yeah, he's not a poor defender. I think it's just because he's so good going forwards. It's just the fact that he's not quite as good defensively. It kind of gets picked up on he's weak defensively. But I think he probably is out of the whole that back four in terms of Alexander-Arnold, Tsimikas, and the two centre halves. He probably is the one you can have a little bit of a go at. I think Tsimikas is a bit like Robertson. He's pretty good both ways, kind of thing. But I think obviously.
We've seen
a job on him last time.
This is what I'm saying. We exploited it, although we didn't win that game. And I think, the reason we didn't win that game is because Salah was in unbelievable form. He scored a hat-trick. Everything he hit turned to gold. But I think we've seen that we can exploit that Liverpool team down that side, So you'd hope for more of the same. The only thing that worries me is the fact that if we are without Rafinha, what happens on the wings? We've been discussing this and debating this off air on other shows. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Could it be Dan James? Could it be Somerville? Or the least one I would want, but the one that I think's most likely, Stuart Dallas in at right wing and then Harrison left. Do you think?
I think that's probably the most likely, just for the reason that we've said Dan James has had no preparation, has he really? I mean, he's not. We're on Thursday night. I don't think Dan James
is he even back in the country.
I don't actually know. I'd imagine he might be back at the training base by now, but he won't have trained today.
No.
So train tomorrow. Again, Saturday's training sessions isn't going to be heavy.
No,
it's just going to be basically a bit on set pieces, a bit on just.
He won't have even had a murder ball session, bro.
He might not have even met some of these players yet. That's what I mean. Half the team might not have met yet. So I just don't see Dan James starting.
No.
Even less likely for me, Somerville starting because he's not going to make his debut against Liverpool.
He'd give it him against Crewe, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He's not going to throw him in against Liverpool for me.
And
I hope I'm wrong, though. And if I'm wrong, you can say, but I just don't see Somerville.
Yeah. The fact is, Bielsa kept Costa on the pitch for a long time in that Crewe game. And Bielsa didn't suddenly decide from that Crewe game that Costa wasn't good enough.
No.
So the fact that he kept a player on the pitch for so long that we kind of knew we were going to get rid of if we could, or put out on loan if we could, kind of says that he's not quite 100% on Somerville yet. Somerville will get chances. I think maybe next round at the Cup against Fulham, he might play that game, but he's not going to start against Liverpool. He's not going to start against Andy Robertson or Tsimikas, is he? It's not going to happen. So
I think you just have to look to how he used Poveda.
Yeah.
It'll be that sort of situation. And Poveda did come on in big games. He came on against Chelsea.
He came on. He didn't start.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He came on against City, I think.
Yeah, he did against Mendy,
Yeah, because Mendy got substituted.
Well, he had a really good game. He really caused a lot of problems in that game.
But he didn't start. That's the thing. And I can't see Somerville starting. So, for me, I think Dallas plays there. And he played there last season when we've been short in that area.
Yeah, he did. And, I know Alioski's gone now, but even Alioski pushed up onto the wings when Harrison wasn't available and that lot. So, I can always see Dallas. I think Bielsa would trust Dallas anywhere. I think if Bamford was missing, you'd half consider putting Dallas up top. If Mele got injured, you'd probably half consider Dallas. But it's a hard one, isn't it? I think the one, if we're going to talk about a positive of Dallas maybe playing there, is tracking Tsimikas or Robertson, whoever it is. It might be quite good from that point of view. But in terms of pushing them back
and creativity and
speed, skill, creativity, as you said.
I don't mean this disrespectful, but Dallas doesn't take players on, do they? He don't beat a man.
He's never been that kind of player.
Even when he was in here and bought as a winger, he couldn't be.
No, he didn't. He didn't at all. I mean, it was just basically just get the ball at his feet and balls into the box. That was, it wasn't really anything brilliant about what he was doing. But look, we've said it before. Dallas as a winger, isn't the reason he become a legend at this club. I mean, he to be honest, a lot of Leeds fans would have, before Bielsa came in, whilst Dallas was still on the wings, I don't think many Leeds fans would have been that fussed had he moved on at that point. It's just the fact that he's had that transformation where it's a weird one with Dallas. Who
would be in your lineup? Because we're worried, obviously, worst comes to worst, imagine Firpo click out ready, and then we're
it's
really
not guaranteed that,
exactly. This is the thing. I think the key thing is 3:30 on Sunday when we see that lineup, when we'll really see. But I guess with your heart, I think with my heart, I'm saying start down James. Giving me it'll cause Trent problems. But if we were to put together a lineup like with your head now, who would you see? What would it be?
What I want it to be, or what I think it will be.
What you think it will be? Because with your heart, you would be saying maybe Strauch.
I don't.
You'd say Dan James, all right? I'd go
just
Dan James left back.
Speed more than
left wing. Sorry,
I think that's the only way
he causes Trent all sorts of problems.
Yeah, I think you can put James maybe on that left and play Harrison on the right. We've seen Harrison can do a job on the right. I know he's not quite Rafinha coming into onto his left foot, but he did all right against Crew there. He played a couple of minutes against Crew in that position. I know Crew's a different, but the point's there that he can play in that position. So they'd definitely be on the wings for me. What I think the lineup will be, it's going to be Meslier in goal. Elland, if Firpo's available, fullbacks, I'm almost certain Firpo will start left back if he's available. If he's not, I think we've got a massive debate in terms of who goes to left back.
Liam McCarron.
It might be Liam McCarron. That's it. We might be calling Leif Davis back at this rate from Bournemouth.
Emergency. Get
yourself down here, lads. Centre backs, I think, will be Llorente and Cooper. I think definitely.
Now, a lot of people will want Strauch, but
I don't. I'm a bit 50-50 in terms of if I want Strauch, Cooper. I think he goes Cooper just because it's Liverpool at home.
He's captain.
It's the size of the game. It's against Jota, quite an experienced forward. Someone who Cooper will.
I think. I've seen people say, eventually Cooper will be phased out. If on Sunday he didn't play,
it's a fair
and he
sign.
went with Llorente and Strauch, then you think it's really starting to phase out now. But I'm with you. I think he goes Llorente and Cooper.
Yeah, that's it. Because I think Cooper up to now, certainly in the Premier League, he hasn't not started a game that he's been available for. No matter who's been there, Koch, Llorente, Struijk, whoever's there, Elland sometimes at centre back. Cooper's always if he's available, he starts. It's in that kind of sense.
Definitely.
So I still think it'll be the same, but I agree. If he doesn't start that game, you got to start then thinking maybe Bielsa is thinking Struijk is the left side of centre back. But I think that'll be the back four. KP obviously holding. No real reason to think he won't be available. He'll definitely be available. Then this is the difficult bit, but I agree with you. I think it'll be Dallas on the right, Harrison on the left, and Click and Rodrigo in midfield. And it doesn't thrill me, that midfield, I'm not going to lie, but I think that will be...
We've discussed and Bamford up top, clearly.
Yeah, Bamford up top,
We've discussed off air. Me as a Leeds fan, and this is how I guess a poor Rodrigo's been playing of late, I would prefer, and I know not a lot of people will agree, I'd prefer Roberts to start ahead of Rodrigo.
Totally. I think I can't think of anything that Rodrigo offers in midfield, specifically in midfield, in that kind of position alongside Click, that Roberts doesn't. And I don't think Roberts is by any means
anywhere close to Rodrigo. Do you know?
No, in terms of overall quality and in terms of starting games regularly, I don't think Roberts is at that level yet. I think he can get to that level, but he's not at that level yet. No. He's had quite a poor kind of couple of games for Wales in the international break, so confidence-wise, he might be a little bit low, but I still would start Roberts over Rodrigo. I just think more off the ball, I think, is the reason for it. I think he can press harder. I think he keeps the ball a bit better than Rodrigo. I think he's got a bit more of a natural feel for the game than Rodrigo. Is just, he is what he is.
Yeah.
He's a striker playing in midfield for me, and that's just my gem.
I think the only person that sees it different is Bielsa.
I think,
and I'm not having a go at him for
no,
this.
not at all. I think he can be developed into a midfielder, but
maybe if he was 10 years younger.
Well, there's that. I mean? There is that, in terms of, because he's played 10, 15 years as a striker, and all of a sudden he's being told to play a new position. You got to remember when Pablo moved from being like a right winger to then playing a bit more in the middle, because obviously he lost his legs, in terms of towards the end. He didn't have that speed. He never really had that speed forwards, but even less so towards like maybe that promotion season. We moved him into the middle. That wasn't plain sailing from the off.
No.
There was a couple of games like that Cardiff 3-3 when Pablo went in there, and you thought, what's it lost here, Pablo, in terms of defensively? He's not able to get around that pitch as much, and Click's having to do a lot of covering. But I just think with Pablo, he had that little bit more. Yeah, he could control the tempo for me. He could still control the tempo in that sense. But I just think Rodrigo is just, everything's one touch, two touch. He wants to speed everything up all the time. You think from time to time, you think of that Man United game, when it got to 2-1, it got to 3-1. Not the Man United game, the Burnley game. When we were obviously like, it was 0-0 in the game. Everything was like one touch, two touch, and you're thinking, no, just slow it down a little bit. Just slow it down a little bit.
Do you think as well, like, I think my main worry is with Rodrigo in there, if he does play there, it's just the time that Van Dijk and Matip will get on the ball. And, we've seen centre-backs just maraud through, like a parting of the Red Sea kind of vibe. And I just don't want to see that on the weekend, because them two, as centre-backs with the ball at the feet, are
outstanding.
In the league, they're up there, right?
I think even if you put a man on, if we had the pressing perfected, if it was
and
Dallas,
it's not going to be, but if it was perfect,
I still think we'd have problems. I still think you see Chelsea are brilliant. In terms of Havertz, Mount, Lukaku, they just go as a free. You saw that, and Van Dijk and Matip were still able to do the same kind of thing. Alexander-Arnold is just, in terms of technical quality, what he can do from right back, you're thinking. But I think Jamie Carragher said it. He's like Kevin De Bruyne at right back, kind of. Well, he is in terms of what he can do. I mean, you're thinking this is what we're coming up against here. In terms of we're trying to press him, but they've not only got top technical quality to play through it, probably as good as anyone's. Maybe other than maybe City with Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, and that lot, but maybe even better than that. But still, and Rodrigo's not. That's the big thing for me with Rodrigo. The biggest problem is just that massive gap between Click and Bamford
and Calvin and
Calvin, and it's just like the whole thing. As soon as one, because
you don't want it where we can park a bus in there. Do you know
that's
what I mean?
That's it. Because if Rodrigo loses his man, Click has to go to him, and it's just a domino effect. Then, and that's the thing with man marking. We found it the start of last season. In terms of as soon as someone dribbled past a player, one of our players, someone else has got to go across. They've then got to leave their man, and it's just got to be.
And that's them defensively, right? Like going forward for Liverpool, who worries you the most? Do you think?
It's got to be Salah. I think Salah's just.
These are the forwards for Liverpool.
Don't remind us. We don't want to remind him what we're coming up against. Don't remind us. Look, Salah's just. I mean, in terms of the numbers he gets, unbelievable player. I mean, look, we saw it at Anfield last season. He was the difference maker in that game. That goal he scores on the volley past Meslier. I think it's when the free kick was only half cleared, you thought, what a player. And I think he's one of those players that he'll have another 3 or 4 years at this for me, in terms of getting 25 a season. So, that's obviously a big problem. Jota has been really, really good for them. And he's kind of what I'm hoping. It's going to sound mad, this. It's going to sound mad. It's another mad Oscar observation, this. So just brace yourselves.
He's made some mad ones in his time.
But that's kind of what I'm hoping the James impacts will be a little bit. Because Jota, when he was at Wolves, no one saying he's not competing with Manny or Salah. No, but all of a sudden, and I think a lot of people say, is James going to take Rafinha or Harrison out of the team? At the minute, I think it's going to be difficult, but that's what we're hoping for. That it gives us something maybe different.
Because Liverpool have real competition up there now, don't they?
And that's what we need for James.
Salah, Mane, Firmino.
Origi. No disrespect to Origi, but it was him and Shaqiri, just players that were nowhere near.
How do we win this game, mate? Can we win the game?
any game. We can win any game. I mean, just got to try and target Trent a little bit, and I say that very loosely because he's still a very good defender. I think obviously got to get Harrison winning that battle against Trent and just causing a little bit of a problem there. And causing maybe Matip to have to go across. Maybe make it a little bit less solid in that kind of sense. I think the big thing for us is, it's going to sound simple, but just less stupid mistakes. Just, in terms of that Man United game, when you look at it, Man United didn't actually
have to do much.
No, they didn't. In terms of, it wasn't a case of, don't get me wrong, Pogba was fantastic on the day, but it wasn't a case of they were cutting us open time after time after time. And they were, but it was us doing it ourselves. We were their best playmaker. We were. In terms of just certain stuff we were trying to do. And I just think against Liverpool, they're going to press you as well. So doing that extra bit of pressure.
Force you into the mistakes, and then you don't want to be just gifting them, do you?
We know Liverpool will probably target Cooper in terms of, they'll probably, Llorente, they might not so much allow a lot of time on the ball, but Llorente's less likely to make a mistake.
Cooper can't deal with pace either.
There's that. I think almost with, because it'd be interesting if Firmino is available, which we're thinking he will be, even though he's Brazilian, but he was injured anyway. I don't know who I'd rather face in terms of Firmino or Jota. I think Firmino probably makes them play better. You saw that Chelsea game where
he's
Firmino,
in front of you though, isn't he? They can see him.
I think Cooper will probably say,
prefer Firmino.
I don't mind Firmino because I know he'll go into the midfield. I've just got to cut out the pass.
I can follow him and make sure he's touch, etc. But Jota,
he's not a massive. Firmino's not going to get you 20 a season. He might score against us. It's every
a bit like Bamford.
He is. He's a very similar kind of player. He's not going to burst past you and smash one into the bottom corner like a Jota can. And I think, but then again, I think Llorente would probably prefer to face a Jota than a Firmino, because I think in terms of Llorente's probably a better place. We saw him against the top six last season. When he came against your Rashford, your Cavani's, and Torres at City, all these kind of different kind of speedy players. He did really, really well, Llorente.
Even when he looks like he's not going to get there, he manages.
He finds a way. He finds a way. He doesn't often dive in, but when he has to make that last-ditch challenge, he will do it, kind of thing.
For me, just on the game, I think 3:30 is so important. It's the lineup. I think the lineup then dictates my mood of where I think how the game.
I think both Leeds and Liverpool's. I think if Liverpool go with a bit more of a workhorse kind of midfield, like a Milner, Henderson,
I get what you're saying,
kind of thing. I probably prefer that to like a Thiago playing, because I just think a Thiago with his experience, because I think we'll start the game well, because full Elland Road, obviously inexperienced goalkeeper in goal for Liverpool. He's trying to press him on goal kicks, trying to just try and get at Liverpool a little bit, which is what I think we'll 100% do. But then you got someone like a Thiago, he's got that experience in Champions League semi-finals, big Champions League games, play for the top clubs and that lot, who just put his foot on the ball and kind of have us chasing shadows. And you got your Harvey Elliott's as well, like technical players like that. They probably bother me more than, Henderson and Milner.
How important do you think the first goal is?
It decides the
game. It's huge, isn't it?
Decides the game for me. I think if they get it first and early, which I think they did last time
they did, and we were thinking first game, it's curtains. Oh no, the step up's too big.
They did it at Elland Road as well, I think.
So we equalised late on with the right
score.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, obviously we came on strong, didn't we, in the second half? I don't think that happens this time, because they got Van Dijk in this time.
It's totally different kettle of fish.
We had him boxed in last time, but Van Dijk never defends in his own box, because you can't get him there. You can't. You want to get him there, but you can't. He just doesn't. He just
Colossus.
They just defend on the halfway line, and that's the only. I've said on the other thing, he's built like Haaland. He says it's not just you look at Van Dijk and just think he's good in the air, but he's actually speed as well.
Do you know, going into this game, obviously, if we were to be beaten, are you worried?
No.
No. We don't need to panic, do we?
If we lose 6-0, and it's a bit more of a concern. But no, if it's a competitive game and we just get done on a bit of quality off Salah or Jota or Mane,
There's no what you can do, is there?
There's nothing you can do.
We're not expected to win the game, Oscar.
No.
You're not.
A point.
Not.
If you offer me a point now, I take it. Being totally honest, no, that's
that's fine. But I want to see the game play out, but I get what you're saying.
I think last season I wouldn't have said that, but I think Liverpool will be top 3. I think we said before, I think it'd be Chelsea, City, Liverpool fighting out maybe that other team in Manchester, but I think in the end of the day, by May, they'll only be 2 or 3 points apart, and maybe even that Kelleher thing instead of Alisson might decide the title.
Do you think, obviously, think back to last season, we were the only team to not get beat by the top 6 at home.
Yeah, it's got to be
This
confidence.
is one of the top 6. I know we have 1 point on the board so far, but it came at home.
Yeah.
You know, that's a positive. The other 2 away.
Good Everton team as well.
Yeah.
The thing is about that Everton point is, at the time, I thought...
Prior to it, you're thinking you're winning the game, aren't you?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that good. I didn't think it was a terrible point, but I didn't think it was... But then they won at Brighton.
Yeah.
And Brighton's a good win.
Yeah,
Southampton's a decent win as well.
Yeah.
And you think they're scoring goals. Demarai Gray, it's on fire. I know I was a bit disappointed with that Gray goal, but there were good players we come up against in that Everton team. And
so maybe, I know now we look at it and say we've got 1 point on the board after 3, but Elland Road could become a fortress. We're unbeaten there. No, it's only 1 game, but what?
Two Crew as well.
Crew. But what I'm saying is, like, we were unbeaten against the top 6. Can we do that this weekend, mate? Can we, do we win the game?
I think the big thing is, if we do sort this Brazil thing out, if we sort that out with Rafinha, we can pin Tsimikas or Robertson back, probably Tsimikas, whoever it is at left back, maybe cut that little bit of creative threat on that side and just leave it down to Alexander-Arnold on the other side of the pitch, which is still risky, but it's better than having both of them roaming forward in that lot. Because there's no way, I personally don't think Tsimikas or Robertson would charge forward the same way if Rafinha was in the team.
No,
I don't think. I think if they saw Dallas there, I think they'd think, no disrespect to Stuart Dallas, but they think, okay, if we lose the ball, I can get back in time there. You know what I mean? I can get back in time. I just think if you look at Rafinha, they think, if we lose the ball and I'm in Leeds' third of the pitch and Rafinha receives the ball behind me, that could lose us the game.
Yeah,
it's a totally different... I just think psychologically it's massive. And you could even say for us, if Fabinho's in there, Fabinho's outstanding. Now Oldham midfield, outstanding player. Miles better than what they've got in terms, but I still think Rafinha is the bigger boost. I think it still benefits us more.
So let's say he doesn't get to play. Where's your head at, mate?
I have to be honest, I think it's going to be a very, very, very difficult afternoon. Still be a competitive game, but I don't see us getting something. I'm being honest. I think it's very, very difficult for us.
What do we lose by then?
I think 2-1, but it might sound negative, but I've still got post-traumatic stress disorder from that Brighton away game when Rafinha wasn't available. We had Paveda and Costa not really do. I know they're not at Leeds now, but
ruined our European chances.
But it did. Yeah. What a horrible game that was as well. They should have won that 5-4 or 5. It was only 2-0, but ever since that game, I thought to myself, Bamford and Harrison are great, but I don't think they can carry the team like a Rafinha can. I think they're more... I hate the word system players. I hate that word so much. But they are a little bit more... they're a bit more predictable.
And not only that, Rafinha occupies 2 defenders.
That's it.
That's why bringing Dan James in
isn't there.
He's amazing for me because you can't all focus on Rafinha because you've got Dan James.
Well, if James, the thing is as well, if James started...
No
way Robertson goes charging forward. No way maybe even Trent Alexander-Arnold.
We've seen that goal, that assist he got for Rashford in that game against Liverpool, man, when they were playing high up and he just boom.
And that was Liverpool probably at their peak.
Yeah,
well.
True.
You know what I mean? That was when everyone was firing in that team. So, yeah, they'll definitely be wet.
So, Rafinha plays, you're going for a point. If he's not playing, we lose.
The only thing I'm thinking now is James can come on. That's the only thing I'm thinking. If we're chasing the game, if it's only 1-0, a bit like last season,
I don't think he'll even make bench. Imagine.
Really?
No,
really?
I think he will.
I think he will play sometime in the game. I think he will, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I think he does get some.
Any other coach, I wouldn't question it, but I just think Bielsa, I'm a bit like, I'm not so sure.
The thing is, though, as good as Dan James,
we'll have Gelbart, Greenwood, McKinch.
We've got to remember this is Dan James. Dan James is still coming to Leeds as the Man United Dan James. He's not the Bielsa Dan James yet. It took time with Jack Harrison. It took almost a year with Jack Harrison. it might take time with Dan James. So it might not be the best idea in the world starting Dan James if he's not totally used to the system. If he's
look at Firpo, right? We look at Firpo against
we
Everton.
see it straight away.
He didn't know the system. Iwobi was getting in, and then he got brought off.
Well, Harrison and Firpo just kept getting in each other's way. I was thinking, hang on, Harrison's just gone inside. Firpo's like playing like a striker now, and I'm thinking, what's going on here, kind of thing. And then, and that was one thing. And then you've got to say as well, James, Man United, when he's played, he's tended to play on the right, I think. So he's had like Wan-Bissaka behind him. Yeah. Wan-Bissaka's a very different kind of fullback to Luke Ayling. Yeah. Luke Ayling will be looking to get ahead of him. So we're not looking around and thinking, what's going on here? What's going on? And then you got Click making those little runs as well, Rodrigo making runs. So it's a very, very, very different kind of team, this, in terms of what Man United is. You know, they mainly played on the counter. When James was in the team, he was in the team to counter-attack. Yeah. That's the thing. Solskjaer never really truly respected James. I don't think he ever really saw him as someone he could really develop into a top player. I think he saw him as someone handy for his pace. But I think Bielsa will get that much more out of him.
So what we'll do, because I'm conscious of time, I don't want it to go on for too long for everyone who's watching, but it's all on the lineup, right? It is all on that lineup. I think that's what's safe to say. I think, look, I'm going to go for 2-1, but you know me, guys. We win the game, man. It is what it is. 2-1. But again, it's a bit like you said before. It's a game I'm probably I am looking forward to it, but most apprehensive about under Bielsa. Yeah. Because normally I'm like, we'll give a go. We'll be all right. But I just think start of the season, coupled with the not much business, coupled with Rafinha being out, it's all a bit, come on, we need a win. And if it were to come against Liverpool, it would really kickstart our season.
Yeah,
really kickstart it. So I'm going 2-1. Oscar's points.
I'll go 1-1. I'll go 1-1. I think we're got to sort out this stupid situation with the South American players. It's got to get sorted. Yeah. We can't get told by the South American FA that players can't play in a league that's, thousands of miles away. How can that ever be a thing? And do you think the English FA? Do you think the English FA could do the same to the Brazilian league?
Not a chance. They get them told. Well, apparently they can, because it's a FIFA ruling. But I mean,
do you think they would?
No, probably not. Probably not, mate. Not especially with COVID. Anyway,
it just wouldn't happen.
We're getting into government stuff now.
That's good. That's good.
But look, thank you as always for watching the Just Joe Football Show. Absolutely buzzing to have Oscar with me. He's an absolute legend. Thank you for being here, mate. Make sure you don't snore and that.
Can't promise that.
Yeah. But listen, make sure you check out All Leeds TV. Of course, they'll have plenty of content on over the weekend, the vlogs, the post-match, the fans post-match, all that sort of stuff. So make sure you check them out as well. And make sure you subscribe to this channel if you're new, like the video and all that jazz. And I think we'll leave it there, Oscar.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.